maybe $2 million a year you get in a contract from a company. To me, it doesn't make a lot. The math doesn't make sense, especially if you bet on yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, and you can back it up like he's backed it up. Which brings me to the next thing, and that is, like, what the hell is going on with Nike Golf? Like, I mean, our tester came in here.
I was thinking about that last night.
Tester came in here, you had the best quote. He goes, they must be paying him a lot of money to be wearing that hat. So, so Matt, can you bring up that hat? Yeah. So anybody that, there you go.
I think that hat is stupid.
I mean, dude, look, I don't know why they went vertical. It just makes them,
because it's different.
Yeah, but it looks.
They're running out of shit.
It looks like a dick.
So here's the weird thing.
Everyone that wore it just looked like stupid.
What I mean by what is Nike doing? Obviously, they push the envelope, right? And that's what they do. I mean, the mock. What is that? The Blade.
Oh, the Blade polos. those came and gone pretty quick.
Yeah,
huh?
they've had a lot of come and goes real fast, and their shoes have honestly they've got a couple decent pair, but
they're on the downhill slide right now.
They're taking basketball shoes, slapping them on some golf cleats,
do whatever they
want.
want.
Golf shoe, right?
Yeah, it's more about fashion than it is function.
But so everybody says, well, you know, they're out of golf because they don't sell clubs, so who cares about them? At the end of the day, they look at it as a dollar, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe we don't make $1 selling clubs, but we make $1 selling shoes. Dollar equals $1, right?
The interesting thing though is they're actually, whoever wins that week, you can buy their exact same outfit for that for a certain price.
It sells.
Yeah, I mean, people will go out and buy that.
Yeah,
because it's I want to be Brooks Koepka.
So if you're losing money selling clubs, right, and you're making money selling limited edition shoes, and
then why not do that?
So get out of this and do this. But what is their long-term plan in golf? Is it to stay and be doing this every week?
If you
I
think
don't
about
think
it,
they have anyone.
Well, and maybe it's just continued on the apparel side, because look at the Masters. Tony Finau, Francesco Molinari, Tiger Woods, all Nike staff athletes, all in the final group. And
well, yeah.
But what does that mean? You think
Jordan
the hats are
Nike.
making them play better, or what?
No,
do you
mean? I think that they're doing. It's the dollar's a dollar thing. They're getting incredible coverage and exposure for their brand.
100%.
And I don't think until you have like a Tiger Woods kind of guy who will come in and change it. So until you have a Tiger Woods and sign them for the clubs and all that kind of stuff, I don't think they're ever going to go back into hard goods.
Oh, they're definitely not. I mean,
no
they
way.
had the number one guy. He didn't move. He didn't move product.
They
for
still
him.
didn't have.
Really,
much
they
of a
did for a
market
little
percentage.
bit, right?
Even if you have the number one guy and he didn't move the needle enough to stay in the business, how much better are they going to get? They're going to get Bruce Koepka?
Yeah, Nike Golf lived and died by Tiger Woods' performance.
Yeah, for sure.
And didn't their Instagram account just shut down too?
Yeah.
Or Twitter
they
or
went
something.
But that's the bigger point. What are they doing? We don't even have a contact for Nike anymore, and they act like they don't even give a damn,
actually,
right?
I do, but it's
kind of.
It's like through a 4, 5, 6 party kind of system.
People in the media world understand,
It's
I think,
tough.
what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like Nike seems to be not doing golf yet doing golf.
Right.
So what's going on? You know, they're putting vertical billboards on.
Hey, you never know. They might be at a PGA show with a huge booth with just apparel.
Yeah, that's,
You never know.
I don't know. So I guess that brings us to kind of what's in the bag for Brooks Koepka, and he had a mixed bag. TaylorMade driver.
Good driver.
Yeah, older fairway wood from TaylorMade. Good fairway wood. He has a Nike Vapor 3-iron,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's how old is that? Nike Vapor.
We
What's the-
tested Nike Vapors my first year here.
So 3-4 years.
3, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Then he's got the Mizuno JPX 919 Tours. He's got Vokey wedges, Scotty putter, and Titleist ball, I think, right?
Yep.
So
It was interesting to see his bag.
yeah. So
Interesting to see. I would love to see his weighting system within that. I mean, he's got X100 in his irons, but then his wedges are S400s.
Yeah.
So he wants a different flight, I'm guessing, and different trajectory.
S400 is still a really stout shaft. I mean,
It is, but
it's heavy. I think it's heavier than X100s.
And the kick is different, right?
Yeah, kick's going to be different.
So it's
it
probably
all
a
depends
ball
on
flight thing
yeah,
for.
It has to be, and like you said, he might change it from week to week. He might put a different shaft in it because he wants a different ball flight for that week.
Yeah, you're hearing a little bit more and more of that of guys on tour where they're changing shafts. Now they're learning so much more about the TrackMan Foresight numbers to know, just like we learned, by doing a ball test. Like you start to learn these trajectory numbers and you learn those paper airplane, things, and you go, hey, I need it to do this. I can do that with a shaft or a ball or a. You can do it. Keep your swing the same.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
evolve the equipment around it, right?
But is what is
And then 80X in the fairway.
Yeah, I think so.
but
The
yeah,
dude
TX
yaks
is-
it. I mean,
He's got a graphite.
gives a crap
I
out
think
of
he's
it,
got a
doesn't he?
graphite shaft in his 3-iron too. That Nike Vapor.
That's coming more common though.
Yeah.
I've got one now. He wants one.
You do?
So he has one in his
It
now.
must
so
be that.
must
I
be
also got the graphite shaft in my 3-iron because
I
Harry had graphite.
it's
It's actually
way
the
forward.
Harry
It's
actually
really
gave
good.
me the shaft.
Yeah.
Good
Leader,
shaft.
follower.
Hey,
Follow you. I mean,
Good guy to
Koepka's
follow.
doing it. Everyone's doing it. MC thinks I look like him. Obviously. I mean,
Oh yeah, I heard that.
yeah, that was
who said that?
MC. Definitely wasn't the same person. Why is it that
So
bad?
that
You
was
look
really
funny.
Yeah, MC thinks he looks like Bruce Koepka.
Yeah. Good-looking guy, apparently.
Another thing we wanted to kind of do was, every week we'll do a what's in the bag kind of breakdown, but also we wanted to start doing something called what else is in the bag, and that is kind of what else are they bringing to their game that separates them from everyone else in the field, right? Equipment is one thing, but everyone has a different mentality about how they attack golf and how they attack a course. And Brooks Koepka is probably very unique, I would think, especially in today's time,
Yeah.
in that he doesn't have a TrackMan. He uses no training aids. And, I've always said, like, if you've played sports like we have, and if you've ever been in, quote, the zone, right? The thing that I've noticed when you're in that is your confidence is super high and your thoughts are super low,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Brooks is one of those guys where he says, every time I stand over a shot, I want to just say, I'm going.
His numbers
63
are
at
there
Bethpage
doing, yeah.
Black, but I've been in that zone where you step over the ball and you know exactly what's going to happen and
Yeah.
where it's going to go.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's hard to preach that more golfers should be like this, but watching you two guys is a good juxtaposition. Like, you are super hard on yourself. I'll watch you hit a shot 4
You're
feet.
all the numbers. You're
Yeah.
numbers. Kind
4
of
feet
guy.
off, and you're slinging a club and you're pissed
Yeah.
off at yourself, and I'm going, you're looking for that perfection where, the opposite side of that is Koepka. We'll just start calling you Bruce. Where he's more reactionary and more in the moment, meaning like, I'm going to stand over this, feel confident, think nothing, just do it. And if it results in 6 feet, instead of balls, all for purpose. Instead of just like 95% of us going out there and whacking
Yeah.
6 buckets of balls, everything is for a purpose.
Yeah, he has a purpose.
He has super simplified it. So what else he brings is what else is in his bag is that he keeps it simple,
His mental side is impressive though. Like I don't think he gives two shits.
Well, whereas you got guys that have these, these big posses of mental coaches and performance coaches and their trainers and swing coach, and like Brooks has Claude Harmon, his swing coach. I'm sure, I know he works out with Joey D, I believe. Him and DJ work out together with him. And then, his girlfriend that he refuses to kiss before he gets a round of golf. But
Mike Kramper style.
he doesn't have a mental coach following around telling him how to think, because it's almost as if he goes out there and doesn't think. He just.
Do you think he would have won that tournament if they would have kissed? It would have been the kiss of death, or?
I don't know. It's funny because he's coming down 10. He birdies 10 and then bogeys the next 4, and I was like,
Yeah, he's letting it go.
Should have kissed her.
She did not look
So
out.
is there something is there something into not thinking that much? Because DJ doesn't think at all. He's nothing out there to think.
Well, that brings me back to
You
the
know?
point of like overthinking things. I've always just thought, like, as an athlete, when you practice, once the game's there, just
Yeah.
let me out of the cage, man. Like, let me.
Yeah,
you
just
don't want
let
to
me
think
do
about
my
anything.
thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think I don't know if DJ thinks before or after that much, but I think Koepka has a plan.
Yeah, I think he does. He knows his yardage. He knows everything about that. But when it comes to thinking, or I think about the last hole where I missed that putt, I mean, he doesn't care. He moves on to the next thing.
Well,
But then at the same time, you look at him and he's almost flawless through 54 holes, through
Whatever, last 9.
63 holes, and then he gets to the last 9, and you're like, the wheels were literally, they looked like they were coming off.
interesting point you're bringing up. So one of our testers came in, and I said, "What was your takeaway from the weekend?" And he said, what was really interesting was the TV coverage. And he goes, Koepka, I think, had bogeyed 3 holes in a row, and he had a shot where he's in a really deep rough.
Yeah.
And they went to, I think, Amanda Balionis for like an interview, like during the shot. And like, he goes,
Missed it.
what the hell is going on with TV coverage, these days? He said they only cover a certain amount of things. And so I asked him, and I'll ask you the same question. Well, first of all, what do you think about the coverage? Do you think they're covering fewer golfers or just the ones that move the needle? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I really didn't watch a lot of the coverage until Sunday. I was out playing golf for most of the weekend, and on Sunday I tuned in, middle of, right after Brooks made birdie on 10. I was at a cookout last night, and we were watching the last few holes, and I was watching his wheels come off. But granted, Sunday, PGA Championship, final group, that's really all they're going to cover.
Well, that was the final day, right?
Yeah.
But, like, bigger picture, Tiger moves the needle. He's the needle, right? And while golf has tried to, when he had his downs, they tried to force that next needle mover on Ricky and Spieth, and it
crushed him.
It destroyed Spieth, right? And how many other guys they tried to put it on, right? And none of them, Dustin Johnson. But anyway, bigger picture is if you own the Golf Channel and you know that dude moves the needle more at 13 over than Spieth at 7
what
under,
are you gonna do?
what are you going to do, right? So
sorry, go ahead.
how do you solve that?
Well, it's such a stark contrast from the Masters to the PGA Championship, where the Masters was this interactive app. You could see every shot, every player. They really made it a point to make the whole experience interactive for everybody to see everybody playing. And then at the same time, you look at the PGA Championship, where it's this, almost call it biased coverage, where they only pick people that move the needle.
Well, the Masters is the outlier, right?
Yeah.
They get it
kill
about
it.
as yeah.
They
So
kill
let's
it.
think about everybody else that doesn't kill it and is whatever you want to call it, biased, and go, how do you solve that? Do you do like picture in picture where you show smaller groups? Like, you get what I mean?
I think that's one of the unique variables in the game of golf, though. If you look at any other kind of sporting event, be it soccer or football, it's easy because it's everybody's
court.
playing in one area.
What other individual sport is
I
it?
think
do
they
you
said
remember
it's
when
the most difficult sport to cover.
Remember when we were at Golf Channel and they were talking about how many cameras they have to
Yes.
have all over the golf course?
Yeah.
And then when the Masters came out, again, I know it's the outlier, but when the Masters came out and said, we're going to film every single shot on every single hole for every single golfer, I was like, how are they going to do that? And it made sense. They probably have a camera guy on every tee box of every hole, a camera guy in the fairway on every hole.
But
and
if
then a guy
that's
on the
not
green.
if that's not possible, meaning
You can't pay. I mean,
Yeah,
how,
it's
how are you going to
if
pay
that's
that?
not
bullshit.
possible, how does golf solve this problem to where? And here's the big picture part. Like, Koepka becomes number one, right? And why does he not many people care about Koepka? Is it because they focus so much on Tiger that while this guy was climbing, no one really got to know who he was because no one was covering him?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can remember seeing his name on leaderboards, a few years ago, and then all of a sudden, he just pops out of nowhere.
Didn't Koepka miss his Q score? He didn't qualify for the first time.
Ooh, I'm not sure.
I don't read that.
But as a
wouldn't be
whole, the
surprised.
guy seems like pretty chill, wants to go out there and dominate, right? Why wouldn't you be loving this guy?
He's a little bit arrogant.
He is.
Which so is
That's
words.
part of every
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know why they're not.
leader there is, right?
They love. I mean, everyone loves a little bit of a story.
Jordan,
A little bit of a.
Tiger.
Yeah.
I would be interested to talk to the people at Golf Channel or TNT with how there's got to be a plan. The producers have to come up with a plan on who.
Tiger.
Well, that's the thing though. Is like they've got to have this so beautifully orchestrated, especially if you don't have the resources like Augusta does to put people on every single hole.
Yeah.
How they orchestrate. Okay, we're gonna go follow this guy. Oh wait, he's made a birdie. We got to go over here and film him on the green.
Even on the commentators, this is what was so funny about. As soon as Tiger started making a couple of bogeys on his first round, they were saying, "Oh, he must be hurt. He must be hurt. That's why he didn't play
Yeah.
for 4 weeks." And then he started, and then he went birdie or whatever
And
it
they
was.
shut up really quick.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, he's found his groove now." It's like, dude, you just flipped from one side saying he's going to be hurt because he's making bogeys to this guy's amazing
Well,
again.
and that was one of
You
the
know?
funny things about because
Stupid.
we weren't watching it on TV. We were watching it on PJ.com, and they had one of them they were talking about Tiger Woods' dinghy, and then they were talking about his real dinghy.
His boat.
Yeah, it was. I guess he calls the boat his dinghy, and they were like, "I wonder what size his real one is, or something." And like somebody quote tweeted and said, "This is what happens when you have to follow Tiger Woods around for 5 hours."
Saw
a
that.
day."
Right.
Matt, are we
pretty
going to
funny.
pull in Tony, or what are we doing there? Transitioning a little bit away from this weekend and into kind of what we are doing at My Golf Spy currently, and what has just been finished up, and we'll touch on some tour stuff again in a minute, like John Daly. But right
I can't
now,
wait for that bit.
right now, we just started testing players' irons for everybody out there that wants to know kind of what's
And
going
Super
down.
Game Improvement, in case you need some big.
And GI is coming.
Yeah,
It's
game
nearly
improvement is
done. Yeah.
finished. We're in the works with that. Tony and I right now are working on some new data algorithms to kind of help improve the the ranking system for irons?
Yeah, so players' irons is a big one, right? Everybody kind of wants to hear that. Game improvement, the middle category just got completed and we'll publish either end of this week or beginning of next. So that will be out. And you're doing travel cases right now? Golf travel bags?
Yes, I'm in the midst of testing those.
Okay.
Want me to bring in Tony real quick?
Yeah, bring in Tony real quick.
See what he thinks about everything in travel bags.
Yeah,
I
so
love this music. Reminds me of home.
travel bags are interesting
Is that how the
because
phones ring?
No, that's how I speak to my family
Oh, Skype.
across the pond.
you might be back across the pond here.
I might be across.
Turn the camera on, but it will be pointing at me.
So travel bags, just before we get into this topic, back in the day, I think pretty much every travel bag was one of two things. It was either a hard shell or a sloppy soft shell, the one that kind of bananaed when you drug it through the airport.
Harry's
still
travel
have
bag
those.
when he first started working here.
We still have, yeah, that was mine.
Yeah. So we're doing travel bags, and Matt, I don't know, Sam, if you ready to?
You want to Paul Bear this casket in?
Queued up.
All right. So
You got it.
we did test, I think, one pure hard shell. Samsonite sent us
We're
this,
just throwing
and
it right on top.
Bring it along.
just roll in this casket. So I think Harry wants to tell you something about hard shell cover travel bags.
Yeah.
Are they dead?
Yeah, they don't work. It's definitely the funeral.
This is the funeral. This is the
so
funeral.
bad.
This is the
It's
funeral
so
of hard shell travel bags today. Rest in
long,
peace, Sammy.
How long do we use this for? How many times?
One.
One. It falls off. You know, it's fine.
Do we have the funeral music?
I play.
Okay,
Oh,
good,
okay.
good. I'm glad everybody else heard it because
But I mean, it's inside. Even if they pad it
the good thing is
the
that
way they can, it still doesn't
Still-
justify having a hard case bag because it breaks on the end.
the one advantage is you don't need the passcode anymore to get to your clubs. Like you can just,
Yeah, you can just punch
through the front and get
And
right
just rip
into
it
it.
out.
Easy access. So
I mean, it's with the 4 legs, and then you can do
Yeah,
that.
so
And
there's-
some have 6.
the Club Glider,
Phenomenal.
Sun Mountain. If
Yeah.
you guys haven't heard of it, it's awesome because when you're in the airport and you're constantly on that angle where you're carrying all that load.
You can literally use your little pinky finger and just go.
Yeah, it's got like a third leg, if you know what I'm saying. Like it drops down, and you can move it around the airport, and it swivels 360 degrees, which is another advantage that a lot of the travel cases have now. The wheel system on the bottom can move around much easier. So when you're making a transition in the airport, it's kind of like those people when you see people carrying book bags, or you're still smiling about something.
Did you wink at the camera?
I was wondering why you were smiling again. I was like, what's
Did he wink at the camera when he said third leg?
Um,
No, it's a really good travel bag.
So what are don't give away the winner, but what do you think the better ones for golfers if they're buying one today or between now and the time we're going to release the results? What do you think they should be looking at? Which brands, which models?
models with multiple wheels at the bottom, so you can literally just go 360.
Well,
and
some
just
of the
do whatever.
brands and some of the model names.
Sun Mountain's up there, Tortrex up there from Dick's. There's some that are coming out of the woodworks that I didn't think were going to do well that are doing well.
Like which
I mean,
one?
like Owl do a good one. Ping's always up there. Ping's always do a good bag.
Yeah, Ping has a good hybrid bag between like a soft and hard.
Yeah, it's
Matt, is that what people are seeing on Skype?
No.
Oh, okay.
it holds its rigidness like perfectly throughout. Ping does.
Yeah. So Dick's brand is called Tortrek, really valuable, like pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Then you've got Owl. I don't know if many people have heard of that. It's OUUL.
Yeah.
I've
They
always thought it was ooh.
I don't know.
do we
I
need to do-
pronounce stuff. Owl.
Owl.
I don't know how to pronounce it
Okay.
either.
Oh well.
Yeah.
That being said, they make a pretty good bag, and I think their story, for those that don't know, is they were a company that made bags for a lot of other companies and decided to make bags for themselves.
Yeah,
Stupid
there's
name,
some
good bag.
there's some ones out there that will come out, which will be, it'll turn your head a little bit to make them notice.
By the way, Players Irons, you're playing in a Pro-Am, what,
Yes.
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
So,
The Pure Silk Championship.
yes, so
Is that
Sam,
what it's called?
Yeah, I mean they get a new sponsor every year,
That's
but
right,
it's the Pure Silk
change.
Pure Silk LPGA Championship at
Kingsville?
Kings Mill Resort up in Williamsburg.
Yeah.
Do you know who you're playing with?
No, we'll find out Tuesday.
Okay.
The time I go off and who I'm playing with. So the first 9 we'll play with one tour player, and then the second 9 we'll play with another one. So hopefully,
Just don't shank it into a tour player. And
I'll just have her
withdraw.
stand. I'll have everyone stand behind me when I'm hitting.
You played that course before?
Yeah, I played it a
Yeah.
few times.
It's a nice course. I played it too.
Yeah.
And they'll get the greens are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like they'll get it, and then it'll be to the end where it's
What's up?
a little bit. It'll be to a point where it's just
How's it
not. It's just dead again.
Oh yeah. Full.
Oh, we got
full
some
fire
food
back
coming
here.
in.
So we got food delivery
Oh, okay.
for
I got
lunch.
Tony, I'm having trouble bringing up his video, but he can hear you guys. You can hear him. If you want to say hi.
Hey Tony, how you doing?
I'm here, so I guess that's something.
Do you have the beard still, like the Yeti beard?
No.
I don't think he wanted to respond to that question.
PSA for anybody else out there, check yourself for ticks after you play golf. Tony's currently going through a Lyme reoccurrence, and it's
I heard
no
it's,
fun.
I heard it's miserable.
They're hosting for the PGA. They got shot in the woods at their house.
Back to kind of the tour.
I'm playing in the Pro-Am on
and
Wednesday.
probably one of the coolest
Yeah.
stories you'll
Pretty
hear,
sick.
and that is the Marty Jerson that works
Mm.
for
Hey,
King
thanks, man. I
Golf.
appreciate it.
Love the story.
So Marty is a guy that helps design the products for
I'm good
Ping.
right now.
And Tony, what else can you say about Marty?
He's a hell of a golfer. I guess we learned that.
Hey Tony.
So Marty,
So Marty, he was about the 410, but certainly the 400.
so literally the guy
So
that
big
designed.
role in making a
your driver.
really good driver, and nice to see him out there playing well
Yeah,
on the
it's
PGA
it's
Tour
really good.
for
Yeah,
one
think,
tournament anyway.
think about this. Marty made the cut, and Tiger didn't. And Marty,
Is he better golfer than Tiger?
And
I think so.
That week.
that week he was, but
It's
that's
impressive to see because
pretty
he's
damn
got a
incredible.
full-time
For
job.
2 days.
He's a full-time job,
yeah.
and I'm sure. I guess he gets it out in practice, but
I figured out how to bring him in video. Tell him I'll call him back real quick.
Tony, he's gonna call you back real quick. All right.
I can actually hear him when he talks.
Oh,
All right.
okay, weird.
So back to your pro-am, Sam. What do you think you're gonna shoot?
Bye, Matt.
Well, it's a scramble.
Okay.
So as a team, I would like to birdie or eagle every hole.
You're playing with Chucky, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna win.
Well, yeah.
You got that
got-
eraser
we
on.
We
it.
got an
pencil,
eraser
we
on the
got a
back of the
pencil
pencil,
pusher.
so we're good to go. He's won every.
Tournament he's ever played in.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Every tournament.
Hey,
Oh,
there he
there
is.
Hey!
All right.
All right, so Tony is our golf equipment expert. And Tony, what's new today in the world of golf equipment, by the way?
Ping G410 LST driver and the Blueprint irons, man. Where you been?
We got
Yeah.
both here.
You read my golf
can
plan?
Can we show them?
Yeah,
We can.
yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So Blueprint irons, first forged iron ever for pick. Oh, Tony's showing it on the. Can they see him?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Up now.
Can they see us?
All right, so this is the Blueprint iron.
It's one of the best looking irons I've ever
That's,
seen.
it's real nice, Clark.
So how are testers or people that have hit it so far in the facility liking it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't had that many people hit it.
Well, compare it to
But-
other forgings. From feel perspective, you guys are both really good golfers. Tell me what you think.
It's pure.
It's pure.
Really?
Yeah, it's pure.
So different than the other type of.
It has a little bit of, in my opinion,
Players' irons they made?
a little bit more of like a i500 kind of feel, where it kind of
Yeah, it's
um,
it's probably not gonna feel as soft as some of the others.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
like it's not like Mizuno soft.
yeah.
No,
But it still feels
8620,
good.
Not 1025, so.
Yeah,
materials
Tony.
that-
What did you say this one's made out of? 1025 as well?
No, it's what did I just say? 8620. I have to go to my notes, but yeah, it's what is very often a casting material, but you know, as processes have improved, there's more crossover now. So yeah, it's 8620, whereas Mizuno uses like a 1025, 1025e. So
Yeah,
not,
it seems
not quite
like
as
the-
soft.
Seems like the best feeling forgings are always at 1025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
But I mean, still, that feels that's one of the best ones I felt for a while.
I think they've done a great
and
job.
it's not actually that unforgiving either.
Well, there's like no offset either. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
it's
very,
pretty straight
there's
up,
very
isn't it?
little
No,
offset.
especially once you get down to the wedges.
Yeah, yeah. So no, these are really good irons. I wouldn't play them.
I don't know if I would go back.
Really?
Back from going from Strixons. I don't think I would go back.
I'm rocking the
It's a
cavity
blade.
backs, dog. I need that forgiveness.
You want to hit that 155?
Yeah, I mean, what
150 pitching
what
wedge.
percentage is this category right here, Tony, for golfers?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure it's probably less than 5% of actual sales, and
Yeah.
probably what it should be in terms of actual sales is probably less than 1%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard.
If
It's
you're
hard
not-
to
if you're
justify.
not playing on tour, you're not a really, really serious competitive amateur,
Matt, can
and
you
even
turn them
then,
up?
the majority of guys are still going to be better off with something with a little bit more forgiveness.
Yeah, I mean, when I miss mine off the toe like I do quite often, I don't think that's going to go anywhere near as my 785.
Yeah.
I got the combo set. I love the feel and strike when it comes off the middle of that club, though. I mean, you've hit them, Tony, right? And they feel great
I
off the
have
middle.
I have not hit the blueprint.
Oh, you have not.
No.
This is a club that I've hit and Tony hasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel privileged.
You should. Absolutely, this is some bullshit, is what that is.
It's a damn good iron. I like
Yeah.
the shaping a lot.
The guy's supposed to be testing bags, hitting club. What the hell? Anyway.
Well, let's transition to the driver, because actually when the predecessor to this driver came out, I think Tony and I both, there you go, Tony and I both pretty much agreed that the 400 LST might be, if not is, the best driver we think that was ever created, because there's these levers, right? So there's distance, forgiveness, workability. So when you look at kind of a down view, you have the three little ellipse circles, and people always think about the distance ones, but they don't ever think about, hey, when you mishit it out here and here, how much shorter does that distance circle now ellipse create? And what Ping was really great at years ago was making that circle so damn tight, but they weren't always near the longest. But now they've moved their design levers to where, man, literally, I don't think they could create much of a better driver. So that's actually why they didn't come out with one, right, Tony, for a while.
Yeah, straight away they didn't.
Yeah, it's that's the story. Is that it just took them a while to get the 410 to the point where it was quantifiably better in the things that they look at than the 400. I mean, Sam and I were out there. When was that, Sam?
December.
December, right? So we were out at Ping for the visit, and we went through the whole 410 presentation. And at the end of it, they're asked, hey, like, you guys got any questions? And like, kind of running through my notes and what I remember seeing during the presentation. I'm like, yeah, I got a question. Where the hell's the LST? Like, what's going on, guys? And it really was just a case of it just took them a little bit longer to get it where it needed to be.
Yeah.
Because again, like we said, the 400 LST was probably broader appeal than I think anybody anticipated. And so, part of it was it just was so good. And again, every manufacturer from time to time just makes a driver where everything
comes together, yeah.
Almost perfect, right? And it just becomes so hard to do better than that in essentially what is one release cycle or at one generation of clubs. So, we're about 6 months behind schedule, but certainly happy to see that it's out there now, or it's coming.
What do you think the coolest things about the newest model are compared to the previous model?
Well, so the big thing here is the fitting story, right? They'll tell you, yeah, we got, what Paul tell us, right? Rather than to look for one thing to make 20% better, they look for 20 things to try and make 1 or 2% better, which I think is a more realistic approach to design anyway, given where the limitations are. So the big piece here is, again, they've added like the as I said in the article, you're looking for the story. It's a G410 Plus that spins a little bit less. That's really kind of almost the meat of it. So what you're getting is the fitting track here. So, as Paul said when we talked about this, Ping had to essentially, they're sort of making guesses, right, when they make a product. Very educated guesses, but who's the guy most likely to play this club? And so with the 400 Plus, it is a better player, at least a higher swing speed player, and that tends to be a guy who can can tolerate or even wants a little bit of a fade bias. So if you were kind of a higher swing speed guy who would benefit from the lower spin of the 400, but a fade bias hurts you, that guy was kind of excluded from the fitting conversation. And now with this, you have that draw setting, which can really open up kind of fitting parameters that they didn't have before.
Yeah, because the last one they didn't have the weight track, did they?
Or the new sleeve.
No weight track, just a kind of slight internal fade bias is how they would do it. But if you're a guy who really needs that draw bias,
right,
and really needs low spin, now you can do that.
Here's what I love about Ping, and something that I don't necessarily like about Callaway, and Tony and I have talked about kind of behind the scenes, and the philosophy of design. Some companies design for what golfers want, and some companies design their products for what golfers need. And the companies generally that design for what you need, not what you want, are at a disadvantage because golfers want to hear about distance and want to hear those stories like an iron going the farthest in the launch monitor, right? And, big marketing stories around them. Ping never really has a big marketing story, but, no matter what we test that comes through here, whether it's
still pretty
a bag
solid,
or a
solid
club or an iron, it's pretty damn solid. And they just seem to design product for what golfers really need, not what they want.
Do we know what he was playing irons wise?
Who's that?
Who?
Marty?
Yeah.
He had
I think Marty plays a
i500
mix.
combo.
I think he's got a mix of. I think he's got some i200 in there.
I think it's iBlades and i500s. The last time I checked it, he had i500s in the.
It's definitely. I
irons.
mean, I had it somewhere, but it's definitely a mix. He's not playing a straight set of anything.
Yeah,
Well, what's interesting about the G410 and even the G400 line is a lot of Ping in general. There's a lot of guys that aren't on bag or on equipment deals that are playing G4. A lot of guys play G400 LST.
I mean, Patrick Reed won.
Patrick
the
Reed won
Masters.
the
Matt,
Masters
can you pull
with
up that picture of Marty?
That driver won a lot of tournaments, and it wasn't always paid for.
They played it because it performed.
Yeah.
It's a great driver.
Yeah,
I mean, there's sort of even we say market conditions, but there's PGA Tour market conditions as well. So, last year TaylorMade did some kind of reshuffling where their priorities were, and part of that was to cut staff, or at least sort of these one-off driver deals and things like that. So you had a bunch of guys who were no longer getting paid to play a certain club, and when that kind of happened, it opened up some of the free agent market in the driver side. So Ping benefited from that. You're seeing this year, I mean, Titleist is winning driver counts, Callaway is winning driver counts. So I mean, you're certainly seeing more spread across certainly the driver into what goes into Bags on Tour.
Well,
just really interesting to see.
Honestly, one of the coolest stories of the year is probably not going to get much coverage, but the fact that Marty, which is a guy that probably most of his days are spent designing the clubs you guys, or the fitting processes that you guys use when you buy Ping products, is able to go out there and
hats off.
Not only qualify but make the cut.
Better than Tiger.
I mean, it's just really impressive.
I think now he is better than Tiger Woods, just because.
Well, let's get to the opposite of Marty Jerson probably and go to John Daly, and
that's
it's
a good spot to be the opposite of.
What is the comparison to John Daly? I have one.
What do you mean?
Happy Gilmore.
Dude.
He's the guy who brings in.
Happy Gilmore is more athletic than John Daly is.
Tony, let me just ask you a question.
Why
Why in the hell do you think we are still enamored with John Daly and what he does on the golf course?
Because I mean, how long ago did he win now? I mean, once upon a time, it was the greatest golf story of at least of a season or two, right? Where this basically this regular dude, right? Like this regular dude that looks like one of your friends that just goes out there and whacks the ball as hard as he can, and dude won a couple majors in a really short time span. And
so do you think that just resonates? Do you think that just resonates with the average dude out there that's like, hey, if he can do it, I might be able to do it too? Because otherwise, the dude is just like, why would you want to cheer for this guy? I don't get it.
I mean, think about the guy on the golf course, or I mean,
Kevy Kev.
A public golf course golfer, right? Is that guy more John Daly? Is he more Brooks Koepka, right? So
yeah, but still,
it's cigarettes in a golf cart.
It's John Daly. he's had his time. He's not walking anymore. He's riding
Well, actually,
the course because it's too hilly,
I
right?
can sympathize with that.
Empty
What's that?
Diet Coke cans and
He's
cigarette
got
cartons.
each beer in each cup holder in there. He's got a cigarette.
I don't
hammer
know,
in his
man.
mouth.
It's just like obviously he's created a business around that couple wins, you know, and
Oh, for
he's
sure.
he's rode that
Train a
a
long
long time. But you know, the quote that Tiger gave, I
Oh, yeah,
love, dude.
brilliant.
I can't remember it word for word, but when they asked Tiger, like, what do you think about John Daly riding the cart? He said something along the lines of,
blood.
well, I didn't ride a cart and I had a broken leg, you know.
Yeah, I walked with a broken leg.
Yeah. So
He had a whole ass 18. He had 5 rounds of golf to play because he had the playoff with Rocket Immediate
I don't get it,
in
man.
the U.S. Open.
To
I don't know.
me, you
I'm
know,
surprised they let him in with a cart, to be honest, just because he won previously.
I think the big, story though is like he's such a stark contrast between all the other guys
yes,
who
that is
are out
true.
there grinding every day, and then you got this cigarette smoking,
It's Happy
Diet
Gilmore,
Coke
dude.
chugging fat guy
It's
who
Happy Gilmore.
somehow is still seen as
Well,
a
somehow can
competitor with
still
them.
pull out a 64 out of his ass, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, look, he is now old school, right? He is an old school golfer. He's not the, I'm guessing John Daly doesn't have a lot of data about his golf game. He's certainly not hitting the gym on a regular basis, right? I mean, he's,
I guarantee he's got
sort
an
of
app at McDonald's though. He tracks how many
this is
calories
the
he's
glory
had.
days right there.
You know, it still amazes me though. You know, this is the first year I'd ever gone to the Masters, and to hear the lines that were at his RV that were still, just $20 bills changing hands one after another.
But what were they buying?
Like his swag, his shirts, his whatever. He's got his own brand.
Packet of cigarettes.
But I mean, the number that I heard that he made in that one weekend,
Gotta make a living, man.
up,
dude,
Joe?
it was astronomical. You know, I mean, he could do that
Where-
one weekend and
You
make a
want to make a
living.
cameo?
Cheers.
So
Maybe I need to start doing that. Actually, I need a name for myself first.
Hollywood Harry.
Yeah, but I don't think it means one thing here, but I don't think anyone gives a shit out of these doors.
Well, Chad and Brad could stick.
Chad and Brad could stick. Yeah, it could stick. I don't think it will, but it could.
Do you think you're going to stay in the country, stick here in the United States? For everybody that
That's-
doesn't-
so
for
that's the
everybody that
plan.
doesn't know this, it's really crazy. So
Yeah.
he's having a lot of immigration problems, and he's getting married.
Yeah, we made a decision, and I proposed.
Congratulations.
Not Saturday gone, but the Saturday before. I went up to UVA, and she already knew it was going to happen, but
You blacked out, didn't you?
yeah, I don't remember what I said.
Not from drinking. He
You
just
start eliminating
blacked
them.
out
Yeah.
because he was nervous.
I wasn't nervous. I got up to, so I proposed on the rotunda steps,
I've only got you. Don't.
and I got up there, and I get on one knee, and then no idea what happened.
She said yes, no?
She said yes, but apparently I said, "Can I spend the rest of the day together?" So I didn't say, "Can I spend the rest of our days
Make
together?
that full
Would you like to
commitment,
spend the rest of our days together?" It was the rest of the day. So really, I should get that ring back.
No, dude.
But it was
got a good
it was great.
You might see her on the next week's show, maybe.
Yeah, she might be popping in next week's show.
I think that'd be good.
But yeah, we're gonna get married, so it looks like I'm gonna be staying in the country
Thank God.
for a little bit longer. Who else is gonna test your soft goods? You know?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Tony tested soft goods once. Sunglasses.
Yeah, how long did that take you, Tony?
Well, let's just say
It was a process.
it was the most thorough sunglass test that has ever been done in the
And
history.
and what was
of
the
history.
what was the like clicks to look at that? Was it like
There's two.
2? So
three.
2 or 3? 2 or
Literally
3?
tens of
Oh,
people.
Tens of people.
That's awesome.
But we don't do it for the clicks. We do it for the thoroughness.
Yes.
That guy did a.
He did
thorough
an
job.
unbelievable job,
Yes.
and
we
I
had
wouldn't be doing that.
We had a great model for that
No.
too, Blake.
That's right. Yeah, we dragged Blake out and made him model sunglasses.
So, what do y'all think overall, John Daly? Like, do you give a damn about him?
I don't know. He's past he's passed before I even got here,
Yeah.
but
But
he's
like,
not
when you see
there.
him in the news, like, what do you?
I barely care about relevant golfers.
Yeah. No joke. So, which golfers moved the needle for you, Tony? Which one do you like the best?
Right.
Brooks all day.
What, yesterday?
Bruce.
Yeah. So you've
Brooks,
met
yeah,
him.
Bruce.
You've met him
Yeah,
a couple
been-
times, haven't you?
What's that?
You've done interviews with him a couple times, right?
Once. Remember when Nike came out with that weird man. I mean, that's tough to pinpoint exactly just by that definition. But what they call it, like enemies of the course collection, where they had like geese on things, and when the Flyknit came out, so there was a launch event for that.
Is that when you
So I
got that
talked
nice
to,
that leather bag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was something previous. But yeah, so during that event, I sat down with Brooks and Tony Finau. So
what
that was
is your
right after they signed it. That was like the sort of the last generation of new Nike signings when they still had clubs.
So you probably missed this, Tony. We were talking about CV coverage earlier. And
Yeah.
one of our testers, I asked him, I said, what was the big takeaway from the weekend? He said the TV coverage. And we started talking 10 minutes into it. You know, he's talking about they're only following a certain amount of golfers. And, Koepka's number one in the world, and not
Get
many
you at
people really
120.
give a damn about him, which I think they should. But at the end of the day, they either do or they don't. It's on them. But my thought was, do you think that they focused so much on Tiger because they couldn't find another replacement for him, even when he was down, that they did
me a
not
favor and
bring
don't warm up
Koepka
with that
up?
one
Like,
today.
no one really knew who he
Don't
was.
warm up with that one.
They didn't
Right.
really. So now he's here, and no one really
Anything
knows
on
who he
that
is
red one.
because they spent so much time focused on the other people. I mean, you've met him. Do you think that he's a guy that can move the needle like a Tiger, or what are your thoughts?
No, nobody can move the needle like Tiger, and that is fundamentally one of the biggest challenges that golf faces. Like I tell people, and I know people are going to think I'm nuts for saying this, but I think that long term, Tiger winning may actually be bad for the game, at least in that TV world, because you were finally, I felt, getting to the point where you had other guys that people were starting to pay attention to, right? People are starting to care about Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas and all these kind of up-and-coming younger guys were starting to generate some real
They
attention.
were.
And then Tiger started playing well, won the Masters, which is obviously huge, but my feeling is that sort of presses the reset button on everything that transpired while he was kind of not playing or not playing well.
Right, but-
So really interesting point was Brooks Koepka beat his ass the first day they played together, right? Like whipped his ass around that course. And if that would have been Rory McIlroy whipping Tiger's ass that day, it would have been huge news. No one said not a peep was made about it, It was pretty strange. It was like they didn't want it to happen because Tiger just came back, Don't beat him now. I mean, why do you think that they didn't cover it all when Brooks waxed his ass around the golf course?
Who knows? I mean, look, right? It's you always want to be showing Tiger. That's Golf Network TV 101, right? Like so the story is Tiger right up until the point that Tiger can no longer be the story, and
Hang on one second.
that is basically the point at which Tiger misses a cut. So until then, like.
Yeah, but they're still
Tiger
they're still talking about Tiger missing the cut. They're not really talking about Brooks
Did they
winning.
talk anybody else about missing the cut?
I don't think so.
No.
they didn't.
So they're still covering
Yeah.
him, even if
But
he misses
Bryson
it,
missed a cut.
What?
Yeah, but I don't think they.
Bryson missed a cut. Damn it.
I didn't even see him hit a golf shot.
I
Bryson
didn't. I didn't.
DeChambeau.
I didn't
No.
see it. All right. So do you think the media has so much pressure? So when like you just said, Jordan Spieth and Ricky Fowler, they haven't really done anything since the limelight started to turn towards them. They kind of like shied away and got worse. Do you think that's because of the media, or do you just think that they're having a bad time on the golf course?
I mean, that's golf, right? Like, and that's part of why Tiger is Tiger. Is if you look sort of, at least in the time that I've been following the game, like to be dominant for a prolonged period of time is, I mean, it's incredibly difficult to do. And Tiger certainly fits that bill, and Phil is, his game's clearly on the decline, but he was always right there for a number of years. But more often what you see are guys that rise to the top and then fall off again, and it's rise and fall.
Hey,
So
it's hard to stay hot. You know what I'm saying, Tony?
exactly. No,
I'm-
Tiger's front line is domination.
Sorry,
That's
it's
just-
a little bit off topic, but did you see the video that you sent when your friend like hit a shot, fatted it,
Yeah.
and I said caption
hot.
this, and I was like, hashtag the Tony, stay hot.
Oh man, I'm interested to see how long Brooks is going to last. He's been pushing for a long time, and for him to win he won a major in 2017, won a major in 2018, now he's won a major in 2019.
He's going to get better. He's going to get better.
You think so?
I know so. Yeah.
More
I mean,
more dominant?
Yeah, it's funny, right? So I don't know, like he's not a guy, right? You don't hear him talking about launch monitor, environmental conditions. He's not like a Bryson type of mindset, but he's out there working with Claude Harmon III. And I talked to Claude at the Floridian in October, and they were talking about some of the holes in Brooks' game that they're really working to fix. So at the time, it was like he kind of has a blind spot at 120 yards, right? And so if he can get better there, it's again, it's kind of the modern approach to the golf game is identify weaknesses using data and then address them. And
right,
that's
so
certainly what they're doing.
We talked about it earlier, so people have heard some of these things, which is great because, like I've said, like once he's out there in the tournament, just go play. But his golf coach does track data, and for golfers out there, I suggest this to anybody. If you want to immediately, first of all, pounding buckets of balls is a waste of time. Every ball you hit, if you really want to get better, there should be some purpose for it. So Claude, for Brooks, does that by identifying his problems in his game by tracking stats. And there's not really a better way to know your weaknesses than to track your stats. And so many people, whether it be at the gym or in their regular life, they don't want to practice the things they're not good at, right? Because it's not fun to stink at something. But that's where you're going to move the needle, and stat tracking devices help that. And his coaches use that. But then once he goes out there, he just goes out there and balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't pay attention to that stuff. He goes out there and just executes, right?
Well, you do the prep
Well,
work
that's
beforehand.
the
and
thing,
then-
right? Once he gets on the golf course, there's really nothing to think about or obsess over other than the shot that's right in front of you. Right?
Well, there's
So-
two versions. You got DeChambeau, which can,
Yeah.
and Koepka, which doesn't have to. So you can be successful at both. I just like to see that Koepka has become successful at doing it his way because I do think that is a way more golfers should focus on it. Meaning, like, focus on the stat tracking, your weaknesses, practice them, and then once you go play, go play.
But do you think that's the reason why he's winning is because he's got people behind the scenes actually recording his numbers and seeing where he needs to improve?
Doesn't hurt.
Or do you think it was a tweet
Well,
that do you think it was the tweet that went out that made him
So Chambly, do you
Getting
think
pissed
that
off.
tweet is what made him win?
Yeah, do you think?
What do you think,
I mean
Tony?
I
No,
would have been
he's-
annoyed.
He's exceptionally prepared, and he's exceptionally talented. He's an absolute beast of a human being. I mean, it's just
But you don't think that tweet
it's like Faldo
pissed
said,
him off?
right? It's all three pieces. It's
Tony's got a crush on you.
the physical piece, the mental
But I-
piece, like preparation, everything. It's
He's got a good point, though. I was watching, there's a guy, his name's Gordon something. He's from Canada. His Instagram name is Golf Gains, and I follow him. He's the swing coach. He's talking about how so many different golfers, whether it be Sung Kang, who has a completely different swing and a different downswing feel than Brooks Koepka does, and we're talking technical now. Brooks Koepka is a sheer athlete. That guy figures out how to get it done, and he's also got one of the best swing coaches in the world. But they were talking about how his thoracic rotation is actually much deeper, and I think it's the highest thoracic rotation measured on
Who,
tour.
Koepka?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why when you watch his backswing, he doesn't have. You look at a guy like DJ who almost straightens his back leg to get all that depth in his turn, where there's a guy like Koepka where he doesn't have to turn that much. You see his right knee is still really in flexion.
Doesn't move, man.
He's got a very stable base, and that's thanks to his ability to rotate his thoracic spine and create that much turn.
But a lot of that's natural. Like you're
That's
born
what I'm
with
saying.
that.
That's what my point to Tony is. He's got the athleticism. He's got the mental. I'm going to
got the
train
full
it here, and then
package.
I'm going to
Yeah,
trust
he's-
it, and
he's
then
just
and then
a
at the
freak
end of the day, I
athlete.
mean, he's just exceptionally prepared.
I mean, he's getting up to ball speeds of 180 regularly, just easy.
Oh, dude, 184. I saw a few 184s yesterday.
Yeah.
The dude yaks it.
Yeah.
He's giant.
All right. Well, what else has been going on in here that you think is interesting from the standpoint of equipment we're testing for the golfers to hear about? So rangefinders, we just finished up and it was published. But for
Yeah.
those that didn't read that, what do you have to tell some of the people that are watching about
I mean,
the new rangefinders this year?
last year we were so impressed with how good the rangefinder became in that year alone. I didn't think that it could have that much of a jump, but yet it did. I mean, Bushnell came out with the Pro XE, which has a built-in temperature like technology where it's got slope, but obviously if you're playing in 90 degrees, it's going to go a little bit further.
Yeah, it accounts for temperature.
Yeah,
I think
and
it does barometric pressure too, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
No, that's what it is. It's a barometric
Yeah.
pressure sensor, so that gets you your temperature and humidity.
Yeah.
So it's basically
Exactly, so
everything to wind.
And it's all factored into the actual the yardage that you see on the screen, which is ideally what you want. As long as it's working, you know it's working.
Well, look, you
it's-
want
it's
to be
good.
able. The one
You
thing
got Bryson DeChambeau in your rangefinder.
pretty much.
You do kind of.
What you really need from a rangefinder is to trust, meaning like
Oh my- yeah.
whatever number that gives you, if you don't trust that number, I mean, it tells you 167, you hit it 167.
And you keep pressing 167, you know your confidence just completely rises
Yeah,
up.
so the Bushnell is the best thing they do is
started?
when all those things that are happening inside there,
Yeah.
I feel like 100% trust the number they're giving. And the features, Tony and I
push it back.
talked about this a few years ago, rangefinders just used to be
push it back.
rangefinders.
Yeah, you get the number and that's it.
And then Tony and I would go to the PGA show, and tech was so big for like the last five years ago. There was all these tech devices coming out, and we looked at each other and we were like, man, you know what? I bet rangefinders start putting some of those pieces into the
and
finder.
look what happened.
Yeah, so the GPS started going in there.
Yeah.
The parametric pressure thing. Hell, we've got a Garmin. Is that a Garmin, that watch that has the launch monitor in it?
Yeah, the Garmin. Yes, but it's not a watch. It's like a little device, like a little phone device.
That's right.
Where's
Yeah.
it go?
It's like any other
On your-
GPS.
Yeah, that's good.
You
Where
wear
do
it
you
on
put
your
it?
wrist?
We haven't tested it yet.
No, you don't put it on the wrist.
Oh.
You have it in like your pocket or whatever, or you basically.
So how does it read your swing speed and all
So
that
when you
stuff
do
in the
the
pocket?
so that's a different thing. So when you do the GPS launch
monitor.
monitor, you put it
Ah.
level with your ball,
Okay.
with like a foot and a half away, and then you just hit, and then it plops up.
Interesting.
Well, anyway,
Every shot.
rangefinders have gotten like
Every shot
really
you want.
a lot more features have been put into rangefinders, and for the most part, the way we test them is which one. Like the Nikon, the reason it won last year,
It's still phenomenal though. It's still really good.
but the main reason it won is because they took a tech that they've had in the cameras for, I don't know,
Yeah.
Tony, how long have they had that in the cameras? You know?
Long enough that I wish I had it sooner.
Yeah.
At least a decade.
So it's a stabilization
At least.
feature, but the cool thing is most golfers have a little shake
Shake,
to their
yeah.
hand, and a shake at 10 feet is nothing. A shake at 200 yards is a big deal,
Yeah, it's
right?
a big. Yeah, you go up by a long way.
So the cool thing is 100%.
Yeah,
of
I
the-
mean that was for years. That was the thing I would hear. And again, like I think
Appreciate
the membership at my club at McGregor Links here is probably pretty typical of most country clubs. It is an aging demographic, and these guys will say, "Hey, yeah, I would love to use a rangefinder, but I can't hold it steady."
yeah.
And
So,
so with
yeah.
Nikon, that fixes that.
It is a very good unit.
That's why I won. So like all these features that are really cool come into play maybe 3-5% of the time, but the stabilization feature, you're using that every time you shoot a number, right?
Every time.
And it's incredibly trust building when you can know that this thing shaking like this just stabilizes and you know exactly what you're hitting on, right?
But it's not just that. It's the accuracy is bang on every time. It's one of the, it's quick. It's bang on. It flashes up with a nice green. I can't remember now. It says there's so many rangefinders. I think when it hits that target, there's like a
Viewfinder
visual. Yeah,
flashes.
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But again, just Bushnell was there. If you could combine some of the Bushnell ones, and then
Last year's Nikon was an outlier, meaning, let's say that didn't come out.
Bushnell.
Bushnell would win every year.
yes, they would. Yeah.
And people ask about Leopold and stuff like that, and I just go, look, I understand that people own those rangefinders, and they're great rangefinders and they're great optics, but they really just haven't evolved over the years
Yeah, it's a
to
long
the
time.
level that some of these other companies are. Even some of the more like price conscious, like the Precision Pros and Inesis this year, the brand from Decathlon,
Yeah.
France, $199, really good rangefinder.
Has slope, easy to use.
Precision Pro has rangefinders
Yeah.
like for $149 that are really good. So
There's rangefinders that will do a job. A lot of the ones that I tested, they do a job. They do it to a point where, if you're a guy that just wants to get a number, there's so many out there that are like $150
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, the one I'm excited to see if Garmin expands and gets better at their display, not the display, sorry, the optics, because it's a camera. It kind of doesn't look. It doesn't. When you look through it, it's not.
Oh, the Garmin?
Yeah, if they can sort that out,
Oh,
they have the GPS whole layout on the left, and then when you get up to the green, if you don't know the course, they know it has a visual of the actual green, front, middle, and the actual yardage. I mean, they could potentially push out Bushnell. if they can sort that out. But it's a tough ask because Bushnell are just phenomenal.
I don't know. They're ahead of the curve, man. They're
And
pretty far out there.
I mean, I would like to see a battle out.
All right, well, the last segment for today is going to be called Why You Suck at Golf. And why we're starting that is because we hear so many golfers come through here that say so many things about they want to shoot better scores and they want this and they want that. And you hear what they're talking about and you go, man, if you just change that, you could.
Yeah, you might.
And you see it every day, right?
Sorry.
So, why you suck at golf, rule number 1 today is just keep it simple, stupid. It goes back to the Brooks Koepka thing. This guy is not overcomplicating things. He's playing the clubs that work best, the balls that work best. He's trusting that.
Yeah.
He's not overthinking it. My man Sam over here.
You got one extreme to the other. Like,
Yeah.
I was just about to say, one of the things that's helped me transcend in the game of golf, I've won the club championship, I've medaled in qualifying events, is we have unlimited amounts of resources in this facility. I can hit whatever clubs that come through here, I can get perfectly fit, and I can get all the numbers I need. But then the thing that, when I first, it's kind of like this learning curve where you get worse and then you get better. I was so overcome with all this data that I didn't know how to take it to the golf course. And now we train it in the facility and on the range, and then when you take it to the golf course, my pre-shot routine is target, tempo, let it go.
Okay. So the data was holding you back for a while. It was too much.
It's too much.
That can happen.
I can't absorb
He's
it.
raising his hand back there. Data's too much sometimes.
He's got Arcos.
So while we try to tell you that data's everything and we are data people, sometimes,
too much is too much.
at least once you get to the course and you go start playing, you're let out of the cage and go play. Just be you, and And also we're big fans of the BYOB, and that's be your own brand.
Yes.
You know what I mean? No matter what it is, what training aid, what club, whatever it is, use things that are going to help you shoot lower scores. And that's our thing for today. And today's show, once again, is the first episode of our show that's going to be weekly. No putts given. There'll be some new additions to it, new people coming in, some new interviews, a new set that, for you Game of Thrones fans should be excited.
Are you going to talk about what
Yeah,
you're...
do we have to talk about Game of Thrones? We have to talk about Game of Thrones.
Tony, I'm guaranteeing you Tony does not watch Game of Thrones.
I have nothing to say.
Tony?
Oh, I watched the hell out of Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, there you go.
What do you think? I live in a cave, man?
Well,
I don't
didn't-
watch Game of Thrones.
Okay, last point is
Yeah,
were
'cause
you upset?
It's on during Tinder hours.
It's on Tinder hours.
Oh, hold on. Before we get to Game of Thrones. So, Sam, we're all about most wanted drivers, most wanted irons, bags, wedges. You are like the expert at dating sites. So what is the most wanted dating site for millennials?
I'm going to have to develop a protocol, but I think early...
A protocol for the
We're going to have to do a testing protocol for that. I'll get with the MyGolf.
you've done a lot.
MyTinderSpy.com?
MyTinderSpy.com. I guess it depends on what you're looking for. What are we looking for here?
Well, that's
You're the
not-
expert. We're asking you.
I have a fiance. I don't have any of those things.
Harry deleted his profile.
A long time ago.
Tony's turning around. I don't know why.
I'm also off the crack, so I'm not on the dating sites anymore.
Oh, why?
I don't believe you.
I'll show you my phone.
You know how many times you deleted your profile and then told me you're back
Look,
on?
the profile never gets deleted, it's just the app.
Oh, the app gets
And
deleted.
then you re-download.
But you have what? A girlfriend now?
No.
Or
No.
a seeing person?
A seeing person.
A seeing person you're seeing?
I don't really want to delve into my private life.
What?
All I'm gonna say is the dating apps have been deleted for now.
Okay.
You don't want to bring her in. You don't want
Not yet.
bring sand to the beach. Okay.
Not yet. No, but the best dating app out there, it's the MyGolfSpy app.
Oh.
Let me just buy on this cheese. Just buying this cheese.
All right. So that is no putts given, everybody. We'll be back next.
Say bye.
Say bye to everybody.
He doesn't know what's going on here.
Tinder. You lost me at Tinder.
What's turned into?
We forgot Game of Thrones, but that's
Yeah, we
okay.
did.
Trying to steal some of your friends.
By the way,